Most people reach for a pack of cookies thinking they are just indulging in a harmless little snack. But what so many don't realize is that the most popular cookie brands on store shelves are often some of the most dangerous to your health. Take Oreos, for example. They are a global favorite and one of the best-selling cookies in history, but behind that crunchy chocolate wafer and creamy filling is a list of ingredients that reads more like a science experiment than food. Hydrogenated oils, high fructose corn syrup, artificial flavors, and stabilizers all come together to create something that tastes addictive but has long-term effects on your body. Hydrogenated oils in particular are concerning because they are a source of trans fats, which have been directly linked to heart disease, obesity, poor cholesterol levels. High fructose corn syrup is another silent threat, known to spike insulin levels rapidly, leading to energy crashes and cravings that push people into eating more than they should. Chips Ahoy! Is another brand that looks innocent on the surface. They market themselves as fun, crunchy, and great for families, but if you look closely at the label, it tells a very different story. Many of their varieties are packed with processed sugars, preservatives designed to extend shelf life, and palm oil. Palm oil is often used because it is cheap and gives cookies a stable texture, but it comes with a health cost. Overconsumption of palm oil is associated with inflammation in the body, clogged arteries, and weight gain. It's also worth noting that palm oil production has devastating environmental consequences, including deforestation and habitat destruction. So, not only do these cookies impact your health negatively, but they also contribute to larger global issues when you purchase them regularly. Then there's famous Amos, those little bite-sized chocolate chip cookies that almost seem too small to do harm. The trick with these is portion control, or rather, the lack of it. Because they're bite-sized, people often end up eating handfuls at a time, which means you're ingesting more sugar, more processed flour, more unhealthy oils without even realizing it. The brand relies heavily on refined white flour, which quickly breaks down into sugar in the bloodstream, and that contributes to spikes in blood sugar levels followed by quick crashes. It might give you a short-term energy boost, but the long-term result is fatigue and increased cravings, which keep you reaching back into the bag over and over again. Another example is Pepperidge Farm Milano cookies. They carry themselves with a sense of sophistication, with their slender packaging and delicate look. But the reality is, they are still highly processed, filled with palm oil, processed sugar, and chemical additives. The branding makes them feel like a special treat, something classy compared to a regular chocolate chip cookie, but the health impact is not any better. The body doesn't care about packaging, it cares about what ingredients you're putting into it. Too many of these elegant-looking cookies still mean too much processed sugar and too many unhealthy fats, which over time contribute to inflammation, weight gain, even an increased risk of type 2 diabetes. What makes these cookies especially concerning is how addictive they are designed to be. Food scientists carefully balance sugar, fat, and salt in processed snacks to hit what is often called the bliss point. This makes your brain crave more, overriding your natural sense of fullness. That's why people often find it nearly impossible to eat just one Oreo or just a couple of Chips Ahoy. The more you eat, the more you want, and before you know it, you've consumed hundreds of empty calories without any real nutritional benefit. These companies are not simply selling you cookies, they are selling you a carefully engineered product, meant to keep you coming back for more, even if it means putting your health at risk. Even if you think moderation is the key, the problem is that the ingredients themselves are toxic over time. Small amounts of hydrogenated oils and high fructose corn syrup may not seem catastrophic in one sitting, but when you consistently eat these cookies along with other processed foods in your diet, the effect builds up in your body. Increased inflammation, higher cholesterol levels, and poor blood sugar control don't happen overnight, but they are the result of years of consuming these so-called innocent treats. That's why it's so important to be aware of what's in the most popular brands, because popularity does not equal safety. In fact, the reason these cookies are so popular often comes down to aggressive marketing, addictive formulas, and convenience, not because they are the best choice for your body. When it comes to cookies, one of the most effective tricks companies use is marketing. They know people are becoming more health conscious, So instead of changing their recipes to use better ingredients, they change how the product is presented. A perfect example of this is the bite-sized cookie trend. Brands like Famous Amos or Mini Oreos are made to look like a lighter, less guilty snack because of their smaller size. But this marketing tactic actually has the opposite effect. The smaller the cookie, the more likely people are to overeat them. One handful doesn't feel like much, so you grab another, and then another. By the end of a casual snacking session, you've eaten far more sugar, refined flour, and unhealthy oils than you would have if you'd just eaten a few larger cookies. The companies know this, and the portioning is not an accident, it's a strategy to encourage mindless eating. Another way brands mislead you is with packaging that feels elegant or upscale. Take Pepperidge Farm Milano cookies, for example. Their slim bags and delicate cookie shape make them appear almost sophisticated, like a treat that is more refined and therefore somehow healthier or more special. The reality is that they're still made with the same processed sugar, palm oil, and artificial additives you'd find in cheaper cookies. But because of the branding, many people feel justified in buying them for themselves or for family, convincing themselves that they're indulging in something better. This illusion of quality is carefully designed by marketers who know that appearance alone can override rational decision-making when it comes to food. Then there are the cookies that try to appeal to nostalgia or comfort. Brands like Little Debbie oatmeal cream pies tap into childhood memories, with commercials and packaging that highlight fun, warmth, and family. The word oatmeal even creates a false sense of healthiness, as if the oats somehow cancel out the huge amounts of processed sugar, hydrogenated oils, and preservatives that make up the majority of the product. The truth is, the oatmeal content is so minimal that it barely makes a nutritional difference. Yet people fall for it again and again because the emotional connection is stronger than the facts on the nutrition label. This is one of the most powerful tools in marketing, linking processed, unhealthy foods to positive emotions and memories, so you're less likely to question what's actually inside. Another trick is the use of health-washing terms on packaging. Words like real chocolate, made with oats, or baked fresh are thrown around to make the product sound more wholesome. The reality, however, is that these words often mean very little. Real chocolate might still be loaded with sugar, stabilizers, and artificial flavorings. Baked fresh is meaningless once a cookie has been sitting in a package on a store shelf for months. Made with oats might mean there's a dusting of oats added to an otherwise entirely processed recipe. These phrases give a false sense of security, leading customers to overlook the ingredient list and nutrition facts that tell the real story. Even the design of the cookie itself can be deceptive. Brightly colored sprinkles, perfectly uniform shapes, or gooey chocolate fillings are engineered not just for taste, but for visual appeal. Food stylists and product developers work to make every cookie look irresistible so that you crave it just by looking at the packaging photo. This primes your brain to expect satisfaction, even if the actual product delivers nothing but empty calories and artificial flavor. It's part of why people feel disappointed after eating certain cookies. They don't live up to the image, but by then the company has already made the sale. The portion sizes listed on nutrition labels are another manipulation. Many cookie packages list serving sizes as 2 or 3 cookies, knowing full well that most people will eat far more than that in one sitting. This makes the sugar, calorie, and fat content look less alarming at first glance. You might think, 120 calories isn't so bad. But in reality, you're eating 3 or 4 times the listed serving without realizing it. By the time you're done, you've consumed half a day's worth of sugar in a single snack. Companies rely on the fact that most people don't take the time to calculate the true amounts based on what they actually eat. Marketing also plays heavily on convenience. Single-serve packs, resealable bags, and fun-sized versions are promoted as easy ways to snack without guilt. The problem is that convenience lowers your guard. A single-serve pack might still contain a large amount of sugar and fat, but because it feels controlled, people excuse it as a harmless indulgence. Resealable bags make it seem like you can enjoy just a few at a time, but most people know that once the bag is open, it's hard to stop. The companies deliberately make these packaging decisions to encourage repeat snacking, knowing full well that most consumers won't stick to the recommended amount. The truth is, Marketing tricks you into believing that processed cookies are lighter, safer, or more wholesome than they really are. Whether it's nostalgia, portion manipulation, health washing, or elegant packaging, every aspect is designed to override your natural caution and get you to eat more. Store brand cookies are often seen as the cheaper alternative to big name brands. Many people buy them thinking they are saving money without sacrificing much quality. The packaging may look simple, the price may be lower, and the shelves may be full of them. But the truth is that these cookies often come with a hidden cost to your health. The reason they are cheaper is because companies cut corners on ingredients, choosing the lowest cost oils, sweeteners, additives to mass produce the product at a fraction of the cost. Instead of using higher quality oils, most of these cookies rely on hydrogenated oils and palm oil, both of which are linked to inflammation, poor heart health, and long-term damage to cholesterol levels. Hydrogenated oils in particular are dangerous because they introduce trans fats into the diet, which medical experts warn should be avoided completely. Another issue with store brand cookies is the overuse of cheap sweeteners. High fructose corn syrup and refined white sugar are the main sources of sweetness in many of these products. While sugar in moderation is something most people can handle, the amount used in store brand cookies is often excessive. This creates a product that is not only addictive, but also damaging to blood sugar control. For people who already struggle with conditions like prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, or obesity, consuming these cookies on a regular basis can make things much worse. Even those without such conditions may find that the high sugar content leads to energy crashes, mood swings, and a constant craving for more. The cheapness of the ingredients is disguised behind marketing terms like family pack or value size, making it sound like you're just getting a great deal, when in reality you're paying with your health instead of your wallet. Artificial flavors and preservatives are also a major concern, because these cookies are made in bulk and shipped across the country to sit on store shelves for weeks or even months. Companies rely on synthetic preservatives to keep them from spoiling. These chemicals don't add anything positive to the product, they're simply there to prolong shelf life. Alongside preservatives, artificial flavorings are used to mimic the taste of real vanilla, chocolate, or butter, but they provide none of the natural nutritional benefits of those ingredients. This means you're essentially eating a cookie that is flavored with lab-created chemicals, rather than anything close to the homemade quality it tries to imitate. Another hidden danger comes from portion size and the psychological effect of cheaper food. Because store-brand cookies are sold in larger packs for less money, people tend to eat more of them. A bag that costs half the price of a brand name cookie can make it feel like you're free to snack without guilt, but the long-term consequences of consuming such low-quality ingredients pile up quickly. The body doesn't differentiate between an expensive brand and a cheap brand when it comes to harmful oils and sugars. It reacts the same way. Excessive consumption contributes to weight gain, metabolic issues, and higher risks of chronic disease over time. The problem isn't just physical health either. The low-quality nature of the ingredients can make these cookies less satisfying, which leads to eating more in an attempt to feel full. For example, when a cookie is made with real butter or natural sweeteners, the flavor tends to be richer and more fulfilling. But when a cookie is made with artificial butter flavor and corn syrup, the taste might be intense at first, but it fades quickly, leaving you wanting another bite. This endless cycle is part of how cheap cookies hook you in. The companies know people will come back for more because the product is designed to encourage overconsumption. It's also important to recognize that store-brand cookies often follow trends in branding and labeling that make them appear better than they are. Some may slap phrases like "made with real chocolate" or "baked with oats" on the package, even if the actual amount of chocolate or oats inside is negligible. They may present themselves as simple or classic, implying that fewer or more wholesome ingredients are used, but when you flip the package over, the ingredient list is often just as long and confusing as any major brand cookie. In fact, because the priority is cost-cutting, store-brand cookies are sometimes even worse, filled with more stabilizers and fillers than their big-name counterparts. Many consumers underestimate the risks of these budget cookies because the focus is on saving money, but food is one of the areas where quality really matters. Spending less at the checkout line might feel like a win, but the hidden price comes in the form of reduced energy, poorer nutrition, and long-term health risks. Families who rely heavily on store-brand cookies as a snack may find that their children develop a stronger taste for overly sweet, processed foods while missing out on the opportunity to build healthier eating habits. Over time, this can shape food preferences in ways that are hard to reverse. The idea that cheaper cookies are harmless is one of the most dangerous misconceptions in grocery shopping. Just because something is affordable does not mean it is safe. Store-brand cookies are often made with the lowest possible standards to maximize profit. The consumer is left with a product that may be easy on the wallet but hard on the body. Clean cookie alternatives do exist, but they are often overshadowed by the massive marketing budgets of big, name-processed cookie brands. Most people don't realize that there are companies making cookies with real, whole food ingredients, and while they may cost a little more, the difference they make for your health is significant. One example is Simple Mills, a brand that focuses on using almond flour instead of refined white flour. This choice alone changes the nutritional profile of the cookie completely. Almond flour provides protein, fiber, and healthy fats, all of which help stabilize blood sugar levels instead of spiking them the way processed flour does. Instead of loading their cookies with high fructose corn syrup, they use organic coconut sugar, which has a lower glycemic index and doesn't cause the same extreme crashes after eating. Instead of palm oil or hydrogenated oils, Simple Mills relies on coconut oil, which, while still a fat, is more natural and easier for the body to process in moderation. These swaps might seem small, but they add up to a cookie that not only tastes good but also nourishes rather than depletes. Another strong example of a clean cookie option is Hu Kitchen. This brand has built its reputation around the idea of no weird ingredients, which means no refined sugars, no gluten, no grains, no dairy in many of their products. Instead of refined flour, they might use cassava flour or almond flour. Instead of white sugar, they sweeten with things like organic coconut sugar or dates. These kinds of swaps eliminate the artificial chemicals, additives, preservatives that most conventional cookie brands rely on. The result is a product that feels indulgent without the long list of toxic ingredients that contribute to inflammation, weight gain, and poor metabolic health. It proves that cookies can be both satisfying and safe when made with thought and care. What sets clean cookie brands apart is the ingredient transparency. When you turn the package over, you don't see a long list of unrecognizable chemicals or artificial flavors. Instead, you see ingredients you could easily find in your own kitchen. Almond flour, coconut sugar, cassava, cocoa, vanilla, sea salt. Things that you could imagine baking with at home. This is in stark contrast to the average grocery store cookie, which often includes stabilizers, artificial colors, hydrogenated oils, corn syrup, and preservatives that most people would never willingly put into homemade food. The simplicity of the ingredient list is part of what makes these cookies genuinely safer. These cleaner cookies also affect the way you feel after eating them. With conventional cookies, it's common to experience a sugar rush followed by a crash, leaving you tired, moody, or craving more sugar soon after. Clean alternatives, however, are often higher in protein and fiber, which slows digestion and provides more stable energy. That means you can enjoy a sweet treat without feeling drained afterward. Many people are surprised by how different they feel after switching to clean alternatives, realizing that it isn't the cookie itself that's the problem, but the harmful ingredients packed into mainstream brands. There's also the matter of food philosophy. Brands like Simple Mills and Hu are often focused on sustainability and ethical sourcing as well. Choosing coconut oil over palm oil, for instance, is not just better for your body, but also better for the planet, since palm oil production is one of the largest contributors to deforestation. Using organic ingredients means fewer pesticides and chemicals in your food, and less environmental damage caused by industrial farming. These may seem like side benefits, but they add another layer of reassurance that you're making a choice that's positive, not only for yourself but also for the world around you. Critics sometimes argue that these cleaner cookies are too expensive compared to mainstream brands, but the truth is that the extra cost reflects the quality of the ingredients. When a cookie is made with almond flour, organic coconut sugar, ethically sourced cocoa, it will naturally cost more than a cookie made with bleached white flour, corn syrup, and hydrogenated oils. The question becomes one of priorities. Do you want to pay less now and face the long-term costs of poor health later, or invest in better quality food that supports your health in the present? For many people, choosing a cleaner cookie option becomes a way of saying that their health and well-being are worth the extra expense. The shift toward clean cookie alternatives also changes how you think about snacking. Instead of mindlessly grabbing a handful of cookies and dealing with the aftermath, you can actually enjoy one or two with satisfaction, knowing that they are not packed with harmful chemicals. This promotes a healthier relationship with food overall, one that is built on awareness and balance rather than restriction and guilt. Cookies stop being an enemy of health and instead become what they were always meant to be: a simple pleasure. The existence of clean cookie brands proves that it is possible to enjoy sweet treats without sacrificing your health. It's not about giving up cookies forever, but about being mindful of which cookies you choose. By supporting brands that use whole, natural ingredients, you not only protect your own body but also send a message to the food industry that people value quality over cheap tricks. Every choice we make about what we eat has an impact, and cookies are no exception. For many people, cookies are a quick pick-me-up, a comfort food, or a treat to share with family and friends. But what often goes unnoticed is how these little decisions shape long-term health. When someone reaches for highly processed cookies filled with hydrogenated oils, corn syrup, and chemical preservatives, they are introducing substances into their body that slowly wear down systems over time. Each bite might feel harmless, but the cumulative effect of eating such ingredients on a regular basis is what sets the stage for problems like weight gain, high cholesterol, and insulin resistance. It doesn't happen overnight, but the body quietly absorbs the consequences of these choices until one day they become too obvious to ignore. Sugar is one of the biggest culprits. The human body isn't designed to process the massive quantities of added sugar found in most cookies on the market. A single serving often contains 10 grams or more of sugar, and few people stop at the suggested serving size. Repeated sugar spikes from these treats lead to overproduction of insulin, which in turn promotes fat storage and leaves the body in a constant state of imbalance. Over years of this pattern, it contributes to conditions like type 2 diabetes and heart disease. Even if someone doesn't develop a medical condition right away, the daily crashes in energy, mood swings, and cravings become a part of their life, slowly undermining their ability to feel healthy and energetic. Unhealthy oils are another piece of the puzzle. Hydrogenated oils and palm oil are cheap and effective for manufacturers because they increase shelf life and improve texture, but they offer nothing beneficial for the body. Instead, they clog arteries, promote inflammation, and increase bad cholesterol while lowering good cholesterol. This makes it harder for the body to function smoothly, and over time the risk of cardiovascular disease increases dramatically. While one cookie might contain only a few grams of these oils, people rarely stop at one, and when combined with other processed foods in their diet, the intake becomes significant. This is why so many health experts emphasize reading labels and avoiding products with hydrogenated oils, because even small amounts consumed consistently are damaging. Artificial flavors and additives may seem like a smaller concern compared to sugar and oils, but they also play a role in shaping health. These chemicals are added purely to make processed cookies taste better and last longer, yet they can interfere with digestion, trigger sensitivities, in some cases affect behavior and mood. For children especially, repeated exposure to artificial dyes and flavorings has been linked to hyperactivity and attention issues. While adults might dismiss these effects as minor, the truth is that everything we eat either contributes to well-being or detracts from it, and artificial additives rarely, if ever, provide any benefit. Choosing safer cookie brands that rely on natural, simple ingredients changes the story. When cookies are made with almond flour, coconut sugar, and natural fats, they digest differently. Instead of creating sudden spikes in blood sugar, they provide steadier energy. Instead of introducing trans fats that linger in the body, they offer fats that the body can actually use for fuel. This doesn't mean these cookies should be eaten in unlimited quantities, but it does mean that enjoying one or two doesn't carry the same risks as indulging in heavily processed brands. Over time, these small differences shape how you feel day to day. Instead of experiencing an afternoon sugar crash, you might feel satisfied and stable, which has ripple effects on productivity, mood, and overall health. The long-term impact of snack choices extends beyond the individual. Families that choose cleaner options pass those habits on to their children, who grow up with different expectations about what food should taste like. Instead of associating cookies with artificial sweetness and processed flavors, children raised with better quality snacks learn to enjoy more natural tastes. This helps prevent the cycle of sugar addiction and unhealthy cravings that so many adults struggle to break free from later in life. In this way, even a simple choice about which cookies to buy can ripple across generations. Food also shapes identity and lifestyle. When people consistently choose healthier versions of their favorite snacks, they start to see themselves differently. They become more aware of what they are putting into their body and begin to build a mindset of self-respect and care. This doesn't mean perfection or never indulging, but it does mean valuing long-term well-being over short-term convenience. Those who take this approach often notice improvements in other areas of life too, such as better sleep, clearer thinking, and a stronger sense of control over cravings. Cookies may seem small compared to larger dietary issues, but they are symbolic of the choices people make every day. Choosing cookies made with harmful ingredients reinforces patterns of convenience and neglect, while choosing safer alternatives reinforces patterns of awareness and health. The body reflects what it is consistently fed. Even something as simple as a cookie can either support or sabotage that process. By being mindful of the brands you buy and the ingredients you consume, you make a statement about how much you value your health, and those small statements add up to shape the course of your future.